and welcome to Makeup Mugwump. My name is Leanne. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed that new intro. My younger sister does it again. This is my new series on my channel for 2021 called Palette Parade. It is where I'm going to try an eyeshadow palette every single day of the year, a different one, in my collection so that I can get through using all of my collection, but also really thinking about whether or not I want to keep this palette, if I love this palette, if I sort of like this palette, or if it's time to actually declutter it and let it go. And so I just pick a random stack of palettes all over my collection. I have many palettes. There is a video here on my channel that shows you all of the palettes that I have. Correction, there are two videos. I missed a drawer. So there are two videos of my eyeshadow palette collection. Eyeshadow palette, I'm having a stroke. My eyeshadow palette collection. And I just tell you the name of it, show it to you, and then move on. We don't do swatches. I don't talk about it. There's no review. That's what this video is going to be for every week, where I go a little bit more in depth, swatch a couple colors, talk about the ones that I used, show you the looks that I did with the palettes, and then whether or not I'm interested in continuing to use this palette, or if it's time to leave. So we started out strong in January with an absolute no-name palette. This is this is a palette that came in a kind of a kit that I purchased from Ulta. It is an eyeshadow palette that is berries and pinks. And I used this in conjunction with a Colourpop Jelly Much Shadow. And it's beautiful. It performs beautifully. I am a stan of Ulta Beauty eyeshadows, and you will see more palettes from them throughout this year when I use them. And yeah, this is the look that I have from that. I will be keeping this. I hate the packaging. It is too tall, wide, deep. It's too much. It should be flatter and more compact. I prefer that, but I'm still keeping it. It's beautiful. Okay, the next day I used the MAC Burgundy ×9 palette. This palette is older in my collection. It has some shades in it that are specific to this palette, and then it has several shades in this palette that are in their normal line that you can get a single of, or you can see in other palettes that they have. So this one, this shade here, Honey Lust, I used this in the look. The trick with this Honey Lust shade is you really need to press your finger into it. You can't use a brush, and you don't need, it's not like a light tapping. This is like you really need to press your finger into it, and then it will make a level lid shade. I love this palette. I will keep this palette. I think it's perfect. It's great for travel. It's perfect. I love this palette so much. After using it again, it solidified it for me. I am definitely keeping that palette.
Here's the look with the MAC Burgundy ×9 palette.
All right, next up, I did a video on this Physicians Formula Ultimate Murumuru Butter collection. And within this giant box, it has their butter eyeshadow shades here. I love this. I love this kit. I love these eyeshadows. I love this. And I'm kind of like, I want to use it again. I want to kind of use it every day that I look at it. I'm like, I want to use this again and again and again. I love this so much. So 10 out of 10 for this kit.
Check out that look with the Physicians Formula Murumuru Butter shadows. Looking good.
I love it. I love the shadows. I love it so much. If you see Physicians Formula Murumuru Butter shadows, I highly recommend. I think they're good. I don't have any other palettes other than this, but I love this so much. Next, I used the Profusion Cosmetics Citrine eyeshadow palette, and this is beautiful. This is a beautiful, it's not monochromatic because it's not. You can get a couple neutral eye looks out of this as well, but it's got those beautiful yellows, mustards. That gold is gorgeous. I paired this with the Too Faced Melted Matte Lipstick in Child Star. Because sometimes shades like this are a little tough. You're like, what do I wear? A really neutral nude works really well. And this is Child Star here. So it's just neutral. It's not pink. It's not warm. It's just, it's not concealer lips, but it's a very neutral nude. That was perfect for this palette here. I love these Profusion Cosmetics $5 palettes. They're wonderful. They perform so well, and they are stunningly pigmented. I mean, they are gorgeous. You will not regret this. $5 for these shades. They're pigmented, they work, they blend. I love them so much. Highly recommend these. You will see more Profusion because I have a lot of these $5 10 shade palettes. This set out on my vanity this week. It is a double-sided Z palette. They did one with Sephora. This is so many years old. This is so old. But I love my Z palettes for a variety of reasons. It allows me to eliminate bulky packaging. It also allows me to save only certain shades that I want from a palette, chuck the rest or whatever. So this actually set out, and which is good. I had some blushes, some bronzers in it that I used all week in conjunction with these eyeshadow palettes, but it had a shade that I really wanted to use this week because I talked about it and then I was like, I need to use this. So the shade that I used this week in kind of as the feature is a shade that I frankened from the Wet n Wild Comfort Zone original palette. So I took every single shade in the original Comfort Zone palette and I mashed it up and I put alcohol in it and I pressed it into this pan. This is a stunningly beautiful single shadow look. I used it happily, and I actually paired it with a couple of other shimmery shades, but this palette has a couple other shades that I really like. This is one that was a pigment, I believe, and I pressed it. I used this with that Comfort Zone shadow. I'll show it to you together. They look great. I mean, it's just beautiful. I love this palette. I love it so much. I have the small and the large, these circular palettes here are from M Cosmetics back when she did the Life palettes. Do you remember those? Real bulky packaging, but they are magnetic, and so if you have some of those, Z palettes work great for them. These are Jeffree Star, the mini orgy, I believe. There were only 5 shadows in that were worth anything. The rest are absolute garbage. This is a Nars Duo, and I love that so much. This is a Ciate London bronzer kind of sample that I got in some Ipsy or something, you know, like a small sample. I use it as an eyeshadow for like a mid-tone brown with any of these. I love this combination. I think it's absolutely cool. I'm really glad that I pulled it out and used it because I love that. But those two together, I'm telling you, it's just dig back out your stuff that you experimented with. It's lots of fun. Okay, I pulled the Colourpop, one of the 9 pans. This is the LaLa palette, and I had not used this. The Tickled shade came broken, but I had just smooshed it back in. Came up with a fabulous look for that. And I like this palette. I had not used it very much. I will continue to use it. You're going to get a pink purple look. You're not going to get any neutral out of this bad boy. You really are. Okay, this palette was the next one that I used. I actually used it twice this week. The first time that I used it, I didn't get a picture of it, but I used the cool tone brown and then this blue kind of red combo shade kind of thing. You know, it flips. You know, it's one of these. And while I liked the look, it creased on me. This is that shade. It creased on me that first day, like bad. And I was like, I don't remember that happening. So I used it again, and I did take photos of the next look. It was more of a copper look. That look did not crease on me. That look looked great. I don't know if it was maybe something had my eyeshadow primer, skincare. I don't know what it was. It didn't look great the first day. It looked great the second day. This is the Makeup Revolution Sophx Original, and I like it. Greetings. Welcome. Last but not least, I got this in my BoxyCharm this week. This is the Ciate London The Velvet palette. And I did an orangey look.
Here's the look with the Ciate London The Velvet palette.
If you'd like to see swatches, that is up on my channel to see swatches of this entire palette. I like it. I think I'm willing to continue to try it to see how much I really like it. So those were my palettes for the first week. I did also use my Viseart Neutral Mattes palette as a companion palette. Mainly this week I used the cream shade for either setting my lid or as a transition-y buff out shade. I did end up using the black to set an eyeliner one time. This is going to be the palette that sits here on my vanity all the time as a pairing palette with anything that I have, just so that I have those matte shades ready to go if I need anything. I liked the palettes that I used this week. I don't think any of them was disappointing. I don't want to declutter any of these yet. I will happily use these all again. I will excitedly, like with excitement, use this. This is probably the one that I was the most pleased with in the formulation, in all of it. I loved these Physicians Formula Butter shadows so much. And probably in second place would be my palette here. I love all those shades as well. So next week, I will continue to use a different palette every single day. And I have a stack pulled here for this week, and I'll just kind of pick and choose which ones I like to use. I am going to mark these so that when I put them back into my collection, I know that they've already been used. And so that I'm not, hopefully not going to reuse anything before having used everything one time. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you really liked it and you want to see the rest of this year play out with me using all of my eyeshadows at least one time, go ahead and hit subscribe. That way all my videos come into your YouTube subscription feed for free. Thanks so much for watching. A special thank you to my sister for the intro. Y'all have a great rest of your day. Bye.